When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind
back. Generalized black woman is doing this and being this. That is that is irresponsible.
No,
when you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind
showing
back.
Me,
black and proud. Claim you're African, black and proud.
I think that if
when you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back.
A page,
what is the status of people with half FBA?
I'm telling you. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back.
That's why I was laughing, because
I am claim you're African.
I'm not saying the framework doesn't do a thing, but
become a part of it.
We've been
embrace
it. To black men
become a part of it. Embrace
in the control. We
become a part of it.
Only
embrace it.
And those to me one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Embrace it. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind
that
back.
mental growth takes place. You can misled by leadership, for instance, that thinking you can consume.
When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
Peace, and power, family. Dr. Daw back in the building with brother Professor Shabazz. What it is, cuz?
What's going on? Peace, cuz. How you doing?
You know, it's I'm doing fine. A lot going on out here in these internet streets to be discussed. I think it's been a while since you and I've kind of came on a Saturday. I think we want to do it like more often, but I think it's been kind of hectic recently.
Yeah, just be scheduling.
And we got some topics coming too, yo. We got some topics. We kind of like shifted into this one. We kind of shifted into this one because of all what's going on and how some things unfolded. So let me just give you the topic. The topic that we're discussing today is Cheyenne Bryant, honorary, earned, self-taught wisdom. Why is the Black community fighting? Cheyenne Bryant, why is the Black community fighting? So again, Cheyenne Bryant, honorary, earned, and self-taught wisdom. I mean, this a lot has been going on out in these streets. I mean, it has unsettled, or it has brought up some of the wounds that are in our community. So I said the wound beneath the fight. Why is the Black community fighting? Dr. Daw, Professor Shabazz, we're on it. So family, as you come in, make sure you come in, you join, you join in, you give us a big up, let us know where you're coming from as you join into the chat room. Make sure you like this video, make sure you share this video, make sure you subscribe to both channels. The proper perspective is brother Professor Shabazz's channel, and mine is Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler. So, cuz, what's happening, man? You how you want to start this thing off?
We can get it started. Look, maybe let me try to give a little disclaimer. We're not here. This is not about bashing. We're not trying to pile on. We do want to interrogate some things. We do want to pontificate perhaps, but elucidate some things. But this is not a bashing episode. This is not anti Cheyenne Bryant or Dr. Bryant, if that's appropriate. But we do have to talk about sincerity and integrity, and what we as Black people have. What we have always historically decided what matters, and perhaps even nowadays, why people are beginning to try and shift what matters. And it's almost to the point where we are moving the goalposts our own selves, or at least some of us, and we need to talk about why and whether or not that's an appropriate thing.
So you said at least some of us are moving the goalposts.
Because for a long time, the idea was those of us who can, or those of us who want to, go get the training, go get the skills, go get those expertise so that you can bring them back to the community and do some of the work that's needed under those expert roles.
Say that
and
one
so
more time.
we have generations of people that picked up that call.
Say that again for me. I want to make sure I'm following. You said, so for those who are called or taken on the call, or something like that.
Well, I don't like that phrase because that phrase will jump out there into the whole religious universe, but
it's in there already.
Right. But the idea is, we have always been a people who have sought advancement and progress, and we've always been a people that recognize there's different paths towards it, but and to some extent, and we need everybody. We need all walks of life. And so with that, there are paths that require expertise from a system, from academia or the institutions. And yes, we have a healthy distrust certain industries, of certain avenues but we also have a healthy awareness that we still need those experts. And so but sometimes it seems like there are at least pockets of the community that are beginning to shift away from that awareness.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So what I'm thinking about is what has some things have come up as a result of the Cheyenne Bryant honorary earned self-taught the indigenous knowledge, it's brought up this idea that I even read a post that said that PhDs are arrogant. The arrogance in the PhDs from a dear brother, and I'm not sure. I think we need to talk about it because in reality, it's unsettling to many, those with degrees, without degrees, those working on degrees, those who, and so now it's gotten to the point where people are saying that you are a troublemaker. I've also been called, someone came into my thread and said, well, look, Dr. Ben didn't have a degree and Dr. Phil Valentine didn't have a degree. And they're missing, from my standpoint, the entire reason why you can't compare this to a Dr. Ben. I mean, you know what I mean? Or why you can't compare this to many people who are out here. Now, some people would say you could. Let me just be clear. Now, but why you cannot compare this to a Dr. Clark, Cheyenne Bryant, and whether or not she has a degree. Well, let's say that the fact that you're lying becomes a problem.
Exactly.
And that becomes an issue. And then double down on the lie. In fact, I'll be real honest. I particularly, myself, as you see in my longer form video the other day, I particularly believe that Cheyenne Bryant is a talented person. Now, I have a question. It said, my main question is, what makes someone legitimate to serve Black communities in mental health and public teaching, earned degrees, honorary degrees, community recognition, or demonstrated work? Core claim. The issue is not simply degrees versus no degrees. The issue is honesty, accountability, consumer protection, and what Black people deserve when they place their minds, trauma, and trust in someone else's hands.
Right.
As you said, this is not an attack or non-traditional healers, community elders, or self-taught wisdom. It is a challenge to deception I want to put that word up there. It is a challenge to deception. Blurred credentials. I mean, it has been, it strategically has been done. And I noticed this, and I noticed with quite a few people in our communities. And we got to have the real talk, because it's not as simple as you think you better because you earned a PhD or a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, or I have an honorary degree, or I have no degree. It's just not that simple. That's not even the conversation for the most part. But the fact that it is coming up, I think it needs to be dealt with, because it's needed to be dealt with a long time, because you have people in all these different arenas or different ways of knowing, understanding, and engaging that feel some kind of way. And I want to be very clear. You know, I think I have to kind of like set the stage a bit, because like, and this doesn't matter, but I just want to be very clear, because people throw you in a box.
Right.
Like, yeah, when I got out of school, I went to junior college. And then I went straight into business. And I was a business person for many years. In that, I mean, out there doing a good job. I decided to go back to school. So what I'm saying is I was already in the community. I decided to go back to school for the community and the work I was doing in the community.
Right.
I literally went back to school. Like I've never really stayed out of it completely, but maybe a few years when business was really stressful and things like that, when I was in my 20s. But I was going part-time. Business was banging, you know, real estate, communications, a truck rentals business, all types of things. Community work, community organizing, all that type of thing. And I said, well, look, it's time for me. I'm going to go back to school so I can further my community work, so I can be more of an investment into the community that I'm already serving. So I went back with intention. I had already been going, but let me be clear, from 2010 to 2022, while I was still maintaining business, a family, community organization, struggles, all types of things, from 2010 to 2022, I went straight through. That is what, 12 years or nearly 12 years. That's not even counting the 55 credits I had before I went back.
Right.
I did, and it's not also counting the earned credits that I got from my real earned life experience, or whatever they called it. As I went back to Sojourner Douglas, and they gave some credits because my initial degree is in administration with an emphasis in business administration. Right. But I went there to get that so I can go back for my master's degree. And I didn't even think I was going to go for a doctorate at that point. But like I do, I just continue. Right. But why am I saying that? I'm saying this to say that I have plenty of lived experience before I even completed one degree, because people throw you into these categories that you just, and we shouldn't do that. I'm saying we shouldn't, but we shouldn't just, he's just a college boy that just went straight to college and he never had no life experience. He just a college, he's Alpha, Delta, Di, Phi, Psi, Chi, all that. I ain't none of that, but some people are. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be, you should be. That's not the fight today. That's not the argument today. And we can deal with that another time. You know what I mean? We can, that's somebody else's work. Let me just say that. So I'm saying that to say, because people put you in these boxes. I was already out doing the work in the community, in the African Senate spaces, in the political spaces, in the Pan-African spaces and business space. Like everything I did was always about the community, from business to politics. To me, again, it's all politics. It's all political. Even my very reason for going back to school had a political agenda. And when I say political, I mean an agenda to empower or not just empower my people in that sense to achieve power and African sovereignty,
Right.
self-reliance,
Mhm.
self-determination, all those type of things. What you say, cuz?
No, you're right. The box that they put you in. Now, honestly, I think
So that's my
that,
positionality.
see, and I think that people try to put you in these boxes because they feel a certain way. They feel, I don't like using certain words because for me, they almost tend to touch on the same thing. Like you said, the brother said, people with PhDs are arrogant. And I'm like, I would, first off, I would say a lot of people are arrogant, whether they got PhDs or not. you know, I used to make this joke with people. I'm like, if you're a black man in this country and you're surviving the system in any way that you're surviving the system, you should be arrogant. If you get if you're living and you get over a certain age, you should have a certain amount of arrogance about you, because a lot of us don't make it, and a lot of us don't get those shots and opportunities to get through doors and whatnot. But at the same time, sometimes it's not that the person with any type of formal training is arrogant. It's that the people that you encounter feel a way about their own selves not having a training, a degree, a certificate, or whatever. And I'm like, again, and that's what I was saying at the beginning, was for a very long time, as a community, as a group, we have always pushed ourselves and pushed each other. Generation older down to younger generation have always pushed ourselves to advance the community. From the root, from the nuclear family, you have children, and you want your children to grow up, and some people say grow up and go to college and get this. Some people say grow up and get a trade and do this. Some people say, all of this has always been a part of the culture. And so then when people do it, I want my baby to be a doctor. Then when they go be a doctor, they feel slighted by you being a doctor. I want my baby to grow up to be a lawyer. They go get a law degree, and now they feel slighted that you got a law degree. And I'm like, so that's what I mean when I say, like, there are parts of the community that they're like, to me, like, they're beginning to shift to this. Well, they're shifting the metric and the goal and what the definition of success is. And I think some of that has to do with like the full scale defense, from what I've seen, of this whole Dr. Cheyenne Bryant scenario thing. I've seen a lot of people who are working in various professional fields not supporting, calling her out for this, that, and the other. And I've seen a lot of people in comment sections, and I can't call it. I can't tell if I don't know who you are in the comment section. So I don't know if you are somebody with this, that, and the other of a degree or anything. But I've seen a lot of people in comment sections defending her and disregarding or disrespecting the people who are like in the videos with degrees, calling out the lack of integrity. And so it's that lack of integrity. I'm like, people are really beginning to just it's the wild, wild west. If you make money, that's all we care about. And anybody else that has any questions, any issues with how you made your money, you become the bad guy.
Yeah, that's facts, right? And I have some examples, and I know we have a run sheet, and I think both of us are kind of like hitting this spirit a little bit. But I'm going to read a post, and I agree with you, right? And I think that this topic deserves to be dealt with care, right? Because I understand the pain on all the sides. And what I mean is, again, it's a way when you've been in an oppressed society, it will challenge your level of self-esteem. It will challenge your level of confidence. It will challenge that thing people call ego. And many times we are missing each other. Many times we are like right now, the conversation is about Cheyenne Bryant. Now, people are telling me I can't call her doctor. Now, I don't have 100% proof that she's not one, but at least I think she at least is an honorary doctorate. And I think honestly, my thought is she just played a little too long with those honorary doctorates, and she began to stretch them. Now, I could be wrong, but I believe that's what happened. You know, because the way she talks, she's not a good defender of her. She's not a good defender. She's a good offensive player. She's hell of a offensive player. She will read the room, snip, snap, and pop. But as a defensive player, she's not. She's letting plays go all day.
She triggered,
huh?
I mean, the way she responds defensively, I'm like, she's triggered, and I'm like, you know, it's real odd. It strikes me very oddly that as a, you know, a quote unquote, I don't even know what to call her, mental health professional, counselor, analyst, or whatever. It would seem to me that if you really got that kind of a background and in the training, you wouldn't be so defensive about people asking you about your background and your training. And I'm like, you know, like one of the clips I saw with her on The Breakfast Club, and she was basically like, I don't give a F. I'm just like, look, this is a problem. I'm like, this is very triggered. To me, it's triggered. Now I'm saying triggered. I'm not, you know, that ain't no diagnostic type of thing. I'm just saying it sounds and feels like somebody.
You can't get in trouble for triggered. It's not a diagnostic word.
Thank goodness. Good. But and so again, I'm just like, you know, the part of that, the thing that's funny is, you know, when you have people defending what appears to be the lack of I want to say the lack of integrity, but I'm not, but like this again, the statement she made, you know, she don't need the license, she don't need the degree, or she just going all over the place. And I'm like, that's the defensiveness to me. And then when people support her, yeah, she don't need that. I'm like, for the people, not for her, for the community. If you really, you're gonna bring yourself to the point where you're gonna say, well, I don't care about nobody having no training. Well, you asking you are putting yourself in a position for another grift. You're putting yourself in a position for more manipulation. And that's part of why I'm like, you know, the very fact that someone says they prefer to work outside of any system that would hold them accountable for any harm that they do. And then people saying, yeah, that's what we want. That's that shift I'm talking about. That's that shift from, you know, a standard like excellence, a standard of accountability to, hey, just get the bag. As long as you get the bag, all the rest of y'all are hating. And that's what it, like, to some extent, that's what it boils down to. That ain't all of it. That ain't the nut. That's just one kernel of it.
Yeah. And I get much of what is being said to some degree. Like I don't like I feel that we have to do two things at one time. We have to destroy the system. We have to destroy the system that is we have to be real honest. I think we have to keep all the cards on the table. There's aspects of the system that does help us, yes, but as damaging as people like Cheyenne Bryant is, the actual system that one is actually defending, and I think we have to speak clearly about this. This system itself is also oppressive. So I'm saying that Cheyenne Bryant and her lies and things like that, I can only imagine why she's doing that, perhaps, and maybe some things she has caused. I'm not sure about any of that, but what I will say is I'm very clear about other people who have faked and put out fraudulent degrees and have hurt people. Now, I can't really say that I've known about her, seen her in impact anyone outside of what I'm hearing some people say about on these shows and things like that. I mean, she's just deceptive. That's, I mean, maybe you have something about what she did to really hurt people. Now some people are saying that she will hurt the image of professionals, right? Yeah. And it's already difficult. So that type of hurt could be one of the forms of hurt, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't think Cheyenne Bryant is that powerful, but I do think that she can impact it in a way. I just don't think that she's that powerful that people are just going to say, I'm not going to go to therapy anymore, or I'm not going to consider therapy as much as we're talking about it. I think people will probably say, I think part of this is good stuff. This is part of it is good. That now people are now saying I have to look more into the backgrounds of people that service me. I think part of this is needed. Then also I think it's partly needed because these conversations where we have people, degreed people who don't have degrees, people with honorary degrees, people who have different ways of knowing the world, like really unsettled at this moment. So I think this is a time which seems chaotic that we can actually literally be utilize this as a time to really explore some of this hurt and pain in our community, this division in our community, the good things that we can get out of therapy, but also the exploitative system that we find ourselves in that also keeps us in coping in the system that we're in. I mean, go ahead, Luck, you had something to say.
No, you're well. One thing I wanted to say, I agree with you that there's definitely like silver linings in the scenario, because hopefully one of the things that people take out of it is I do need to make sure that whoever I'm like, trying to contact for services or whatever, I do need to make sure that I look into and verify their backgrounds and things like that. And that's great if that's the case. I think part of what my concern or what my fear was is that with the level of people that are supporting her, or with the level of with the level of people that are quote unquote attacking is a wrong word, but attacking people who are calling her out. You have people calling her out, and like the comment section is like, leave her alone, you just a hater, she's qualified, y'all know she got a degree. That's the part, like, look, well, that's then you're not walking away from the situation like, maybe I need to investigate and make sure that people are qualified. You're basically saying you don't care if a person has the trainings or the skill set that they say they have when they come to you. And I'm like, that's the part, again, I'm like, if you're just going back to it's a public face, she appears to be successful, and I do think that can hurt, not the field so much, but it can hurt the impression of the field. Like, in the Black community, we got a big problem with owning up to the need and the positive impact from mental health. And so I'm like, if people, this was sort of like, I'm not, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but it's sort of like the same part of the same conversation that popped off when we had those murder-suicide scenarios, where rather than deal with like the clear examples of the two of those men who were experiencing mental health crises, we wanted to call it something else. And so rather than deal with the fact that if you desire mental health counseling, then you need to make sure that you're getting qualified help. And it's just like if you need a heart doctor, do you not want someone who has the training that they say they had? If you need a foot doctor, are you just going to go to the one that was on TV? Or do you want to make sure that they actually got the training that they say they got, and they're actually, qualified to do whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing for you? And so that's the thing, when people just leave her alone, she good, she pretty.
So I know we have a run sheet here.
Okay, yeah, let's try to, because I know I'm bouncing.
No. Well, I think we both are. And I think, I'm okay with that to some degree. I'm just trying to respect you, because I'll rip it up and throw it away. hey, you give me any inkling, I'll just be going, But one thing, I know you talked about this, there's one thing that I do want us to talk about, this idea of pretty privilege. I want us to kind of talk about that later at some point. Okay. I do want us to hit on some of these points on our run sheet. Okay. But also, I just honestly, just to kind of respond to what you said, I'm still not convinced that this is, I think this was actually more positive than, even when I look at the comments, I have very few people that are literally so in defense of her. I do have some that I'm going to show.
Okay.
But for the most part, even the sisters, the sisters have come out and they not playing. They like, hold up now, Sister Cheyenne, girl, they like, girl, just look, they like, girl, just tell us you didn't have it, or but even that would not be enough. I think that's problematic too. But hold on one second. Let me try this. This is funny, y'all. This is funny, right? Just a little humor.
Oh yeah.
I have a PhD.
And what does PhD stand for?
Person having degree. Who wrote these questions?
Can you provide your degree for us?
Hold on. Let me find it for you. Hold on. Give me a second. Now my lashes. Transcripts. Everybody keeps asking me about transcripts. What does gender have to do with this? I'm a doctor. I tried getting my dissertation, but the school was closed down. There's a Walmart there now.
Oh,
so okay. I called Walmart and I said, hey, this is Dr. Jasmine. Do you guys have my transcripts? My transcripts. There's a shoe here. It's crazy. They didn't know what I was talking about, so I can't find them, honey. This is cute. Now this is cute. This is cute. Let me put this on.
Now, Dr. Jasmine, can you provide
it?
Okay.
Degree. Right here, baby.
That's not the degree we were referring to. We're referring to documentation.
You mean paperwork.
Yes.
Doctorate. Can you spell doctorate? That's right. I ate it.
Okay. You know what? We can wrap up the interview.
Don't worry about it. You know what? You.
Thank you for your time, doctor.
And anybody asking me to prove anything.
Okay. Let's get her out of here. Let's get her out of here.
Yeah. So I mean, a little levity,
Right.
a little levity, but peace, Dr. Ball. Let's speak to the family real quick. Peace to why I never can say his name. Wahoo HP Shabaka,
Yeah.
what it is, Baba Shabaka. Mr. K is in the building. We're gonna talk about that, Mr. K. We're going to talk about Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark were trained and mentor and intellectual scholars with academic. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit. Not going to go too far into that, but peace and honor to Dorian. Family, make sure as you come in, you like, you share, you subscribe to both channels. So yeah, Mr. K, who else is in the building? Buddha, Namaste. But Mr. Shavers, peace and power. So yeah, we're going to talk about this. It's kind of like another war that, I know some people say, I don't want to use call things a war. I mean, whatever, I'm going to call it a war today. I don't have the vocabulary to speak of it in any other way right now. So that's one thing I wanted to show, right? But I also want to kick it off with this right here.
Okay.
So I did a video the other day, and I can't remember if this is the longer form video or the clip. Now the clip that I put out, it has gone, it's climbing up there, it's climbing, and this might be what they're responding to here. But if you see here, under the video, I'm using too much technology at one time, so it's under this video. I'm using too much technology at one time, but this is the one that said I have my transcripts. And then an individual looks like a sister says, you all are debating about having Western education. These Pan-Africanists shaking my head. I say, do you really believe that's the point? Do you really believe that's the point? Then she responds by saying, that's the reality. Dr. Ben nor Dr. Phil Valentine have degrees. We have bigger issues than debating about his degrees. I don't know what the his is, but okay. And it looks like I myself have I'll just read this because I might have to do something a little different. But it says here, I put here, this isn't about degrees. This is about lying about having them. But there are many of our greats that have them, like Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Marimba Ani, and I even talk about Dr. Anthony Browder, Dr. Asa G. Hilliard, Dr. Wade Nobles, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, etc., etc., etc. Again, this is about dishonesty, lies, and deceptiveness. You see, so that is where the conversation has shifted. Now, I will say, again, this is a typical response when you talk about like something like FBA.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very different, like the Beehive. Like this ain't like you dealing with Beyonce's Beehive. Like this is a bit different. Most of the people aren't coming like this from my standpoint, but I do see people getting the best education they've ever gotten about mental health right now. Like people are learning different things that most people in the field don't even know some of the things that we're talking about right now, just to keep it a buck. The people in the field, I'm talking about people in the field don't know a lot of these things. A lot of things you don't know until you even, like things I didn't know at my master's degree level while I was working on my master's degree, I didn't learn until I got my doctorate degree about the field and even the differences and the nuances and all these different things. And then some you had to do self-study. Like a lot of us don't even understand the differences in lots of things. But again, I think that I haven't heard where she has hurt people specifically. I know hurt always comes about. We can't stop hurt. But I will say is that this has been a time where I've seen people have to ask questions. Now, do I think any of my clients are going to stop seeing me because Dr. Bryant? No. Do I think that anybody who's interested in therapy for the most part is going to stop because Dr. Bryant, who didn't have a degree? Now, if she had a degree and then she did something crazy, then I would say, yeah. But it's like she doesn't have one. Now, I haven't heard where she's hurt people. I'm certain. Yeah, let me say. But what I'm saying is, this is a bit different. I don't see too many beehives unless you saw something else, cuz.
I mean, I saw those types of comments. I took notes on them, but I didn't like save them to pull them up, so I can't do that. But I did that's the type of framework what I was talking about, where people were just they were coming to support her. They were coming to detract or debunk anybody trying to hold her accountable. And that's the thing that, like I said, what drew me into it is, I think somewhere else, one of the things I was writing down was, how is it so easy, and why is it so easy for us to dismiss the deception? Like it's not about what qualifications she has or not at all. It's about, like, why is it so easy to say they don't matter after she said they matter? If she just would have said, my name is Cheyenne Bryant and I can help you do blah, 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 everything okay.
Yeah. So I have something here, cuz in response to that, the thing is, hold on, no. I'm trying to go to our run sheet, but what I'm thinking about that is, though, we'll never ever stop 100%. But it doesn't feel like FBA people. I mean, if they start coming out like the FBAers when Tariq is totally wrong, then I'll be concerned. Like, really concerned. But I think that's a fight. I know there's going to be some people out there, and she's become very religious lately. I mean, she's quoting scripture like Jesus Christ himself. Yeah. Now,
oh, go ahead. The scripture.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
The script. What did I had? Because I had that down in the run sheet. The scripture part.
Oh, you do? Well,
it's a shield. I did have something about the scripture, and I usually try to stay away from that because I know people is funny about their religion. So, but it's so deceptive. I was gonna do this. I may do this thing later. I was gonna do this thing where I was gonna just start dropping scriptures on people and whatnot, just to see the response I get. but that's the thing, because I did see other people. It was an argument somebody was making about her leading with spirit and the creator being what qualifies her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I
wish I could find that. What was that?
That's what it's one somebody. I think it's under my post. Someone posted that to me. Yeah, someone posted it to me. Saying that she has been ordained. In a sense, like she doesn't really need the white man stuff. And let's let me just kind of frame this again. Okay. Because I want to keep us online. Like, the name of today's topic is Cheyenne Bryant, Honorary Earned Self-Taught Wisdom. Why is the Black community fighting? I have here, before debating the case, name the deeper communal tension. For Black people, degrees have never been neutral. For some, an earned doctorate represents sacrifice. I want to be clear. Represents sacrifice, discipline, and access won through racist institutions that tried to keep Black people out of them. For others, And I'm saying even today, even if it looks black, you still feel that tension trying to keep you out in that tension to maintain, to stay in it, to pass, to graduate, to keep, not to become like it doesn't matter how black the school looks. It's still a miseducation system. It's still tension there. It's still tension with those professors that want to teach a more accurate history. It's more tension there for those students who want to come from a more accurate perspective. For others, it says here, those same institutions are where black people have been misdiagnosed, disrespected, over-policed, and treated as pathology. So this fight is not just about one person. It is about whether institutional validation can be trusted, whether community wisdom counts, and what standards should govern people who claim authority over black healing. And what I'm saying is like these new fights, these aren't new fights, but these unsettled, these wounds are rising to the surface. And I think that again, I'm going to say it again, we all kind of miss each other. Some people see that people who they can't see the pain and the hurt and all the work that they put in, and then they feel like, then they're like, why are you so big on this doctor title? So now everybody's like, you're a doctor, you're a doctor, you're a doctor, you're a doctor, how they say Oprah did it? Oprah gives them out.
You get a degree.
You're a doctor, you get a degree. You're a doctor, you're a doctor, you're a doctor, you're a doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And part of the, and then you can do that in that sense. And you're like, so this person is like, yo, I just worked, almost killed myself for the last decade or more.
Right.
Doing this. And now, everybody get to be one. Even Cheyenne Bryant. Cheyenne Bryant get to be a doctor now. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, hold on. I actually worked so hard and I missed so much time. Look, we have to be real honest about this. And I think we all have to talk about this in a real way. Why are people testy when they work so hard? Because they miss time from their damn family.
Right.
Like, I mean, and we have to really talk about that. It is a real thing. It is, and you can't even get that time. And you miss so much time dedicating to education, and people told you to go out and get. And when you come back to the community many times, then they don't trust you. That's another thing. Exactly. So it's hurtful. And then they told you to go and get it and become an expert for us. And now you can't tell me nothing. Don't think you special because you got a degree. And then the other person, like, it's this reaction. It's these visceral responses that people are having. In fact, the day you go, look, you get your bachelor's degree, you become something brand new. You get your master's degree, you become real special. I got an MS, and you like, and I'm not saying people don't be, they be stunting with those degrees too. I ain't gonna lie. One thing is, I appreciate what Dr. Ball says is, and might not say it exactly like he says it, but he says when you get a bachelor's degree, you think you know everything. He says when you get a master's degree, what did he say? He said when you get a master's degree, you realize there's a multiplicity of ways of looking at things. And when you get your PhD, you like, shit, I don't know nothing. So with many people who get that degree, they act, there's a certain level of humility comes with it, but there are people who stun on you. There are people who think, people, because, and it's not the degree per se, it's that person's whole that they're utilizing that degree, whether they earned it or not, similar to what Cheyenne was doing. Right. I bet they'd not say doctor. Now I could say doctor because I think she got those honoraries. I think she got the honoraries. I saw the regalia. I mean, she got the honoraries, she got the paid honor, like whatever it is. I don't think, look, and she says that I got these honoraries, these 2 honoraries from the work I've done. And so the question I would want to ask to Dr. Cheyenne, or Dr. Whatever, I would like to ask, what work was that?
MTV.
Did you know about her before or something? Because I didn't.
I didn't know too much about her. When I did a little bit of the digging, and there was a clip. I think somebody put together a clip, and it was talking about all of the different TV shows that she has been on over the years providing these services. And so there was something about I think it was something about one of the MTV teenage mom reunion shows where she was, I guess, you know, the voice of reasoning. You know, I don't the consultant, the psychological assistant, or whatever it is, the host. Because in the clip that they showed, it was like you know, showing all these, you know, teens, and they were at each other's throats and arguing. And I think she was like breaking it up and trying to get them to calm down and settle down, and let's work through this, and we're gonna deal with our feelings and stuff like that. So that's when I was like, oh, so she's been doing this celebrity counseling, so to speak, is the way I looked at it. More so than
I don't,
you know, regular people. And when she started talking about how much she charged, you know, I was like, so you know, I wasn't aware of the honoraries. I wasn't aware that she got honoraries.
So yeah, I mean, I think she played on those honoraries for too long, and she got caught up. That's my assumption. But I'll be very clear. The little bit of that, I'm not saying I agree with this lady like 99% of the time. I mean, like all the time. But I'll be real honest. The things I've heard her say, I can't say I totally disagree with a lot of it. Like I'm saying, like she could be like really bad, but she's really good at the same time. It's like she could be really bad. And I'm not saying good for you. I'm just saying some of her ideas around trauma and relationships, I'm not even saying she's practicing them. I don't think she is, according to all the resources and the sources I'm hearing. I'm just saying that maybe that book is something good. And I think that's what that person was telling me about. But again, this is not about whether or not she was ordained by God. This is not about whether, you know, the white man created these white degrees. This is not about whether she has earned degrees or honorary degrees, as far as, I mean, unearned degrees or honorary degrees or made up degrees. This is about her saying that she has things that she doesn't seem to have. This is about her honesty and then her response to it and her doubling down on it. And now her campaign to point fingers at other people and make like they are the problem. You know what I mean? So again, we get lost when we say things like, I want to read this. I want to read this post just to kind of get us, you know, people are saying all types of things, right? So this is probably one of the people that we're talking about. Let me see if I can put this on the screen. And so someone here is under the video I did last week. Said someone who can admit. So because in the video I put out, she spoke about narcissistic traits. So someone who can admit they have narcissistic traits should be appreciated. Narcissism is a spectrum from extreme psychopaths to controlling energy. I don't even know where they got that from. But Black folks love to hear or love to tear down successful people if they don't line up with their beliefs or values. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm not even sure like what she espouses, what she articulates, whether or not I disagree with most of what she says. Now, the lying and the flammering and now the behaviors, I see that the behaviors are problematic. I mean, I kind of already knew the way that she's very like, and we can talk about this pretty privilege, and I got my own thoughts about that. And in fact, I'll just be real upfront. I don't even like the term. I don't like the term. I don't think it does a good enough job. But we can talk about that. Bottom line, what she says here, this person says here is, bottom line is her book and her conversation. The bottom line is her book and her conversations are spot on to help people heal their wounds and traumas. When you recognize a narcissist's energy, just back off and keep your boundaries, but no need to tear them down. She's anointed, this is what you're talking about, to do the work she's doing like MJ, so back off. Now, I take exception to this idea that there was some level of tearing her down.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think that, for me, now maybe she's talking to people in this chat room, like that I tore her down, where, you know, because I think she's pretty sharp. I think that part of what this person is saying here, though, is interesting, because I don't know how much a narcissist, like, so now the narcissist is going, this person is saying that according to Dr. Well, let's back it up, Sister Cheyenne Bryant, that she has narcissistic traits. This is according to Cheyenne.
Okay.
Herself.
Mm-hmm.
So she says that because she was able to become clean about that, that's something positive. So again, someone who can admit they have narcissistic traits should be appreciated. But what about someone who can't admit they don't have a degree?
Again, right. Because it's the integrity for one. And what I'm pointing at is, right, when I say it's not even about her, this is part of what I mean. It's about the people who defend her and who try to silence those of us who say integrity. Like, why are you lying? Why does it matter? They want to know, why does it matter that she's lying? And that's what that, you know, again, this God thing, the spirit thing, she's anointed thing, the community standard is for the people who fit this category. She's successful. Leave her alone. Absolutely. That's it. It's capitalism. It's the bag. It's that's all it is. And I'm like, I got a thing that I was gonna drop on this.
Okay. You got something you're gonna drop on us?
Well, I'm trying to get my it's a comment that I was gonna make about this, but let me just slow down before I go off and say the wrong thing, because let me see if I can find the better version.
So
okay, so let me say this, because all of these people, you know, she's getting all of this support in spite of clear problems with integrity. So there's too many people, I think there's too many people in the Black community, but definitely like people who support her the way they're supporting her. And again, even people like, you know, over in that FBA community who support their influences. You know, people are selling themselves out. They're selling themselves out because all they really care about is a new type of success, not the old school type of success. But today's success is measured only by popularity and money. And if you get both of those, you are godly. And no one is allowed to question you. And so people don't care they don't care if you have a degree. They don't care if you lie about having a degree. They don't care. They care that you made it. They don't care if you're trained. They don't care if you lie that you lie about being trained. They care that you got the bag. They care that you made money. Because if you made money, if you can make money, and in particular, if you can make money lying about going to school, they can do it too. So they don't care if there's training involved. They care if there's dollars involved. And as long as you make the money, you are their model. It's just like it's so very much like the MAGA crowd who enshrines Donald Trump. It's just if you got the success, that's the metric, that's the yardstick, that's the model. And anybody that says anything negative towards you, and accountability becomes a negative. That's what that's
absolutely. And she will. And let me be clear, because I want to be very clear on some things I said earlier. I know that if I already assume that she has hurt people. Let me just be clear. And if she hasn't, by some magical way, she hasn't hurt people, she will hurt people. The more powerful she gets, because she even spoke about how her narcissistic traits show up when she dealt with a man in her life. She was saying that I didn't have to treat that man that way. I did it because of these traits. So even with my own argument that I don't know about any harm that she's caused, but she has highlighted that. I can only imagine that she's caused harm. I'm talking about on an individual level, and she has caused harm to some people out here on social media, and maybe impacted the way that they see things. But I don't think, again, I think that this here, it is one of the best. I know this is like one of the easiest. It might change. This is one of the easiest fights against a cult figure, because you ain't gonna have your chat board's not gonna look like this if you come for Tariq Nasheed. I mean, well, maybe she doesn't have bots yet.
Yeah, she herself says that she got her village.
Oh, she told him hold down right now. Maybe.
I'm just saying, like, she has her own, because she said in the Breakfast Club video that she was only going to address some of these things because she has a village, a fan base, a supporters, and she I think she gave them a name. And so she was like, I'm only going to talk about this one time for those people who fit this category, and for everybody else, I don't give a. So I mean, it may not be as large as some of the other cult-like influences yet, but
yeah,
I think it's coming.
You think it's coming?
I think, well, yeah, I do. I think it's coming because I think that's her intention. I think her goal is to get the bag. Her goal is to blow up. So, and I'm not saying it like she needs to be stopped. I'm just saying she's on a projection. She's on a trajectory. She's on a book tour. Like, she has goals. She has an agenda. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's the nature of the beast in that territory. If you're climbing that ladder, that's coming.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure about it. I can't, I'm not sure. I heard some things about the publisher actually giving people money back. I don't know how honest that is or true that is. If they want their money back. At this point, it feels more like Rachel Dolezal to me.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't. It doesn't feel like Umar Johnson or Tariq Nasheed or other people when you're trying to critique them about their deceptiveness, right? It just doesn't feel the same. Umar Johnson, especially at the beginning, she's like really like just beginning. And, you know, and one of the sisters under one of my posts said that brothers, now that everybody's holding her accountable the way that we are holding her accountable, it's now time for brothers to hold, if only men could hold other brothers accountable like this. That was one of the responses. Now for me, I thought that was, you know, I get it. It might not be specifically for me, but I typically, that's where I hold these brothers accountable, and they're harder to hold accountable, like literally way harder. Like people, like the videos about Dr. Bryant are like going viral. People's responses are with not a lot of pushback. Again, there's some pushback because there's always going to be people who are mesmerized and hypnotized by the celebrity and whatever assets you say. But let's do this. I'm going to this point on our sheet is called titles. Okay, it says community honorific versus institutional claim. The difference between community doctor and institutional conferred doctorate. Difference between you know, I'll do it this way. I'd rather do it this way because I want to keep on topic with this pain that we have again. And I want to talk about like so again, I was speaking to the pain of, and maybe why you see people over respond to when they see people use the word doctor.
What does PhD stand for?
Or what many believe is an over response to this sister Cheyenne Bryant. Many people believe it's an over response. And this is one of the posts from a dear Baba in the community. And what the post says is, let me put it on the screen. One of the Babas in the community, and we're going to open the lines later, family. So it says, the PhD arrogance is deafening. My doctorate is honorary. I'm proud of it. I wish all I had to do in order to get where I'm at was my homework. That's not a slight. I know people who work their butt off to get a PhD. I've helped 2 people write their dissertations, but some of us take different paths. Some of us choose to learn by living. Some of us take on challenges that the local college doesn't offer. Respect to both the traditionally qualified and the uniquely qualified. Again, respect to both the traditionally qualified and the uniquely qualified. Just keep in mind that with all the degrees we've collectively acquired, we own less than 1% of the land in this country. Our children consistently rank at the bottom academically. We arguably have less political and economic power today as a community than we did 40 years ago. Our neighborhoods are decimated. The wealth gap is increasing. Need I go on? So the question isn't the legitimacy if your degree, it's the legitimacy of our individual and collective purpose. It's the legitimacy of our agenda imagine arguing over who's the most individually educated. I guess that means most individually educated while we are collectively losing. Let me say that again. Imagine arguing over who's the most individually educated while we're collectively losing. Get focused and get back to work. Now, what's your thoughts about that, cuz?
I mean, I like the post. I like parts of the post. I take issue with parts of the post. I respect anybody. I try to respect anybody that has a doctorate, a degree, honorary or non-honorary. I don't have necessarily an issue with that. I think it was a bit of a shot when he said, "I wish all I had to do was homework." I think that's a bit of a shot.
Why?
I don't necessarily look at the work that a person does in a PhD program as homework. I think it's a little bit more detailed than homework, but you know, like I said, I think that's a bit of a shot. I'm not gonna get completely blown out of shape over it, but
you think it's a shot nonetheless.
Yeah, I do think it's a shot. I do.
But he
think
said that, but he did argue that that's not a slight right afterwards.
Yeah, and we do that. I do that. We always do that. And so that's why I'm like, it's a little bit of a shot, but all in good fun, maybe. But to the larger points that he's making, I mean, you cannot argue against the idea that the community has deep problems, the wealth gap and problems with the educational system and the quality of the schools and the quality of the academics and so on and so forth. You can't, I don't think anybody could legitimately say that ain't real. That's very real. The lack of, land ownership in the Black community, that's very real. I don't necessarily think it's entirely germane to, again, this is a conversation about honesty and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
How we advance, how we protect the status, the standards, and the standards of the community and the progress of the community is still different from who do you trust and how do you trust them and why do you trust them when you're going to, again, if with any type of qualification, okay, I want to send my child to this school, and you find out that nobody at the school has ever opened up a book about teaching. Are you still going to want to send your child to the school? Like if Dr. Umar ever got the doors open, and there are no qualified teachers in the building.
Yeah, I feel like if I really had to be real honest about this, I feel like there's a lot wrong here.
Okay.
And I think that part of it and there are issues in our community that are here, and some of this is deflection. From my standpoint, it's real, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we should talk about these things and figure our ways out. But to say that, to kind of like tie these issues with degreed people and people having conversation around this becomes a problem to me. Because it's not just degreed people who are trying to figure these problems out. Okay. So if we are, so it's people with degrees, without degrees, with honorary degrees, all types of people are trying to figure this out. And we're all still struggling, nonetheless, with all these same issues that he spoke to. It can't. No, the way that the post is written, it's almost written in the sense like, look, you don't have time to talk about whether the degree is real or not. That's a waste of time. I have an honorary degree and I'm proud of it. And I wish I did. I wish I did only had to do my homework, but I think that's it's kind of inconsiderate. But I understand it's inconsiderate of those who, again, now think about it. I told you that I've been doing work in the community, right? Now I'm not taking any exception to this because I understand where we are. And I didn't show the name purposely. But the thing is, I'm, you know, I mean, it's a public post, but you know, I feel I got, you know, but not that I won't, because I will, but I'm playing this side today. The thing is, though, because I don't think it's about the person, I think it's about the messaging, and I think this message is something that is pervasive in our community, and I think it's conflating a lot of things. So one, we can't parse out all of our responsibility, whether you have a degree or not, or earned or unearned or honorary or not. So to like that's like questioning a leader without a degree. A doctor. That's like questioning people who have gone through Pan-African struggle, and now we say, and now I say, well, he never been through the process of the Pan-African orientation or rite of passage initiation. And then when we start debating about whether or not this person has gone through the process, through the initiation process, and now they're harming people or misleading people to believe that, then that's like, no, we can't hold them accountable. We can't hold people accountable that went through our way.
Right.
So, in fact, so to me, that becomes problematic. But two, it's clear to me that there's a slant in this piece. And I'll just read it and go on, and you can join in as well. The PhD arrogance is deafening. Right? The PhD arrogance is deafening. My doctorate is honorary. I'm proud of it. Now, I don't know, somebody might have shot a dart at my dear Baba.
Right.
And he might be responding. That's what I'm thinking. I wish all I had to do in order to get where I am at was my homework. Let's stop there. The reality is there's no Black person that I know that all they had to do to get these degrees, I work with them, is their homework.
Right.
The very fact that, and I said, like we got to listen to both sides of this, all the sides. I feel my brother Baba is saying, because they are the system and institutions have us fighting against each other. But I think we have to balance this out a bit. I wish all I had to do in order to get where I am, where I'm at, was my homework. That's not a slight.
You said that's not a slight.
That's what he said.
Oh no, right. He said that. Okay.
But there's too many people, Black people in academia go through a lot. It's so and that doesn't mean that they didn't also fight and do all other things that people are doing when they go through academia. Doesn't mean they didn't raise families, didn't mean they didn't struggle in the streets, doesn't mean they didn't struggle in movements. It doesn't mean any of that. And it doesn't mean any of that. But I've never seen this straight linear approach for Black people who go through academia. Now, there's some. But I'm talking about especially when you start getting to your higher degrees. But I do understand that I think a dart was shot, perhaps. And maybe he felt something. But the way we tie this in with Cheyenne Bryant is problematic for me. That's not a slight. I know people who work their butts off to get their PhD. Now, that's the neutralizer.
Right.
I've helped 2 people write their dissertation. So, I mean, I can do it too. But some of us take different paths. That's a qualifying factor. That's something saying that to me, that's like, he's educating here. That is not the only path. Some of us choose to learn by living, and that becomes the problem with me. Like the problem is some of us learn by living. I don't know any people who went through any PhD programs who have not also learned by living.
Right.
And I don't know anybody who hasn't gone, well, that haven't learned from some way of book knowledge or some level of academic, even if you didn't go to college. Some of us take on challenges that local colleges doesn't offer. See, some of us, he says here, some of us take on challenges that local colleges don't offer. Right, me too. I did that. You got something for that, cuz?
No, go. I mean, again, I guess I would say, it does seem a little bit like maybe he's responding to somebody else,
Yeah.
And because I just don't see. Again, I'm like, I don't even know. Anytime, like this whole entire conversation, again, this conversation is rooted on integrity. It's not rooted on, sentiments and feelings and arrogance and I got this and I did that. This is integrity. That is all this conversation is about. So I was like, I don't know what transpired to make him, go in. And like I said, he's throwing some shots here and there. He's making some serious points, but I don't think those points, I'd love to have the conversation about the Black wealth gap. I'd love to have a conversation about poor schools. That ain't what this is. That's just not what the ire is about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fact. And and perhaps as you're saying it is a response, but it gets to a point where it ties back to this conversation about Cheyenne. It's like, shut up about Cheyenne already. Respect to, and then it goes on to say, respect to both the traditionally qualified and the uniquely qualified. Now think about that. Listen to that. Respect to both the traditionally qualified and the uniquely qualified. See, part of the struggle I had with this post is dichotomized. It's as if those who've gone what they call a traditional path are not also uniquely qualified, or those who are uniquely qualified are also traditionally qualified. It's almost as if those who have PhD have not went through the school of hard knocks. It's and then it's talking about the P, and it starts off with the PhD arrogance is deafening. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe there's a lot of PhDs going around saying some arrogant stuff. I've listened to quite a few people, and as it pertains to Cheyenne Bryant, and my major critique of them is that at times they sound like they're really supportive of the system and establishment itself. But I also understand why they're saying this, because they're trying to protect people. We've been trained in ways that says if you're not licensed or qualified or you don't hold certain levels of ethical standards and things, you can hurt people. And it's true. That it is true. And I think that that's essential to open up this conversation around traditional healers, because I have a problem with people who are a part of what they're calling here those traditionally qualified, but also let's talk about the traditional healers. Because I have seen so much unethical practice as it pertains to traditional healers, but I don't see many of us in these communities have that smoke for them. I can say like pseudo killers have that smoke for traditional killers. I'm sorry,
traditional healers.
And a lot of them are traditional killers at the, but so and what I mean is they exaggerate what they can do for people. And so I say we must have that same smoke both ways, because a lot of us, it's hard to come out and say anything like the sister said earlier, like Phil Valentine doesn't have a degree, and this one doesn't have a degree. Dr. Sabi doesn't have a degree. If I literally, this brother, what's his name, who got the fake degree on his website, the fake PhD, but he's a healer now, and everybody, he said just drink water and everything's healed. I'm just being funny about that.
Oh, the Yaki.
Yeah, him. So everybody, nobody wants to deal with that. No, you ain't talking about that. The arrogance of many of these traditional quote unquote healers or frauds. Yes, that is what we have to deal with that as well. But I'm not saying there's not any PhD arrogance, but I'm saying that there is arrogance, and we have to look at the entire problem here. And the problem again is not about her having a legit degree or not. If she says she had a fake degree or an honorary degree or no degree, then it wouldn't be no smoke for her. But the fact that she lied to us, doubled down, and then played in your face becomes the problem. She said, look at y'all, I'm not doing nothing. She just doubled down and called y'all the problem. And that right there, those personality traits, somebody needs to deal with that, because she will hurt people. She does give, let me give it like my sister. I love my sister. She gives Umar Johnson in the feminine. Now Umar, I believe, has his degrees. He's not licensed. And people came for Umar because Umar wasn't licensed, and nor should he be. Let's keep that a buck. He got a whole degree and did put in a lot of hours, but Umar, from my standpoint, shouldn't be conducting therapeutic services.
I hope he ain't. I hope he ain't.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm not. I thought he was some kind of school counselor.
He definitely don't need to be doing that. No, he's a school psychologist, but I'm not sure if he's certified anymore.
Oh, okay.
But you can see in his personality, quite like Sister Cheyenne, there are some issues.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we look. I'm not with all the whole idea that we all got our stuff we got to grow. No, some of us got a lot more issues going on, and we have to be clear about that. Those people who say things like that, you are ill-informed. The fact that we all got problems. Well, does that mean I can't hold this brother accountable? His problem is knocking people upside the head, and my problem is that I make mistakes and step on their feet. Now we don't deal with those the same. So the fact that we can't look at things with nuance becomes problematic, because I see even in this message it's a very dichotomized message. But I get it, because maybe there was a shot, and I know about shots going on in this community. There's shots to be going on in this community, so maybe this is a response to a shot. But again, it's public. He goes on to say, let me just read over it again. Some of us take on the challenge that the local college doesn't offer. That's true. And that's me and you and other people as well. Respect to, and that's credential, non-credential, non-traditionally educated, traditionally educated, those educated in our community work. Yeah, we all do that. just keep in mind that with all the degrees we've collectively acquired, we own less than 1% of the land in this country. Our children consistently rank at the bottom academically. We arguably have less political and economic power today as a community than we did 40 years ago. Now, I get that too, because when you, part of what I can tie this back to this miseducation of the Negro.
Mm-hmm.
And Carter G. Woodson warned us about this thing. Do people with these degrees, do they need to be challenged? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Because a lot of us have bought into white supremacy. But not only the degreed, those who drive trucks, those who cut hair, those who work at Walmart, those who open up schools, those who, like Umar's opening the school right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this ain't only about people with degrees, but we have to understand the responses from both sides, because somehow this system has elevated people in their minds with certain credentials that they are better than them, other people. But the same thing with celebrities. Like, in fact, let me tell you another thing why a lot of people with credentials are mad. Because they don't have, like, and I mean, some are really frustrated because they've done a lot of work and she's getting a lot of play. They ain't getting no play, but they did all the work. Now they getting something, but now she's pretending to be them and getting higher accolades, awards, and attention.
Right.
So we have to understand that side as well. But we also have to understand that there is a tradition in this country. There is that people or look down upon if they don't have certain education. But that's a problem because most people don't have that level of education.
Right. Most
of us don't. But then we have to also understand those we say, go to school, boy, go to school when you get it. And then they looking at you funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't trust you. You's a sellout. Oh, I thought you wanted me to go and come back to the. Oh no, you come and bring that white man shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm bringing Dr. Amos Wilson. No, I don't know about that. So it's a serious problem in our community. Mm-hmm. Today we're talking about Cheyenne Bryant, honorary, earned, and self-taught wisdom. Why is the Black community fighting? So this post goes on to say, I'll repeat some things. We arguably have less political and economic power today as a community than we did 40 years ago. Our neighborhoods are decimated. The wealth gap is increasing. Need I go on? The question isn't the legitimacy. If your degree, it's the legitimacy of our individual collective purpose. Let me slow that down. I'm trying to understand that. So the question isn't the legitimacy if your degree, okay. I think he's supposed to say here. So the question isn't the legitimacy of your degree. Yeah, he was responding because I know he these are typos. And you know, when you type it like, and I know he can spell, you know what I mean? I know he's, you can even tell he's a good writer by the quickness that he put this together, but it still has these typos in there. That I think this is a response. So so we're responding to each other because somewhere somebody probably took a shot with some level of arrogance, or at least he felt that. And this is a shot back. But I think both needs to come to some sense of balance because the hurt is on all sides. And again, quite like FBA versus African, quite like men versus women, manosphere versus women's sphere, all these different ways Black people show up in our societies, we're played against each other. So again, I think that some of this is very general and problematic, just to say the least. The response, I'm not even gonna call it a response, I'm gonna call it the reaction. This is a reaction. This is a reaction post. If your degree, if Okay, let me read it again. So the question isn't the legitimacy of your degree, it's the legitimacy of our individual and collective purpose. Do you follow that?
I'm trying to. It's the legitimacy of our okay, not if of. The question isn't the legitimacy of your degree, it's the legitimacy of our individual and collective purpose.
So
no, I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. Again, I disagree because the question is, it has nothing to do with the degree. It has something to do with the deception. Period. The Yaki dude, and people saying it's already automatically known that he's got a fake degree on the website. She comes to the community, however she came to the community, she introduces herself, I'm a doctor. It's the deception. You can be great at your job. I'm not taking anything from whatever you've done. If people say that you did good work, then people say you did good work. I'm saying, could you have done that good work without lying? That's my biggest thing. And like, if I go back, if I hit like one of the things on the run sheet, because one of the comments that somebody was made, Dr. Ben didn't blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look, to some extent, like I might have to like confess my own personal ignorance. For a long time, I thought Dr. Ben actually had PhDs or whatever. Somebody said he ain't got them. I'm like, the community called him Dr. Ben. To my knowledge, he didn't. I don't know if he personally deliberately introduced himself as. I know people were introducing him as, and I know he held his own ground, and his work stands a testament of time. So again, it's not so much as the legitimacy of the degree, it's the legitimacy of the integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And like when Dr. Ben presented himself and when he engaged in the academic discourse and the rigor and the debates and et cetera, he wasn't necessarily attacked for not having a degree. He was they was like, man, you seem to have an expert understanding of the field. Let's deal with the information. And if that's the case for Bryant, okay. But again, I'm just saying it's the integrity and it's the audacity. I'm like, okay, look, my bad, family. I was playing a little bit with, I ain't no doctor, but I play one on TV. I mean, there's a way you can clean it up and keep on rocking. But if you double down and triple down, and then you start disrespecting everybody else, and then you start blocking and deflecting and shielding.
I think I can, even if I really had to tap into why a lot of people would be angry at this. And I think sometimes because many times, as much as the community feel downplayed, who don't have those degrees, those who have those degrees feel downplayed.
Exactly.
And part of it is, I'm really had to tap in empathetically right now for those who have PhDs, master's degrees in mental health, right? Just think about this. You are a professional. Let's switch the gears a bit. If I was playing a mechanic, would you still say that who cares about who's playing a mechanic? when it comes to saying they can fix people's cars, but they don't really have all the skills or the credentials to do certain things. If I was so these people have gone to school and they've dedicated their life to being professionals of the mind. The emotions and engagement and bringing about change. Where some people just think that therapy is just this easy thing and don't understand all the things that a person has to learn and master to even become credential. It's almost like saying, who cares if she has a PhD? Would you say who cares who has a MD?
Exactly.
Now the thing is, especially if we're talking about clinicians here, there are things that therapists are highly trained in that needs to be respected. So they will respond. It feels disrespectful. If you are a MD doing plastic surgery, would you say it doesn't matter because if this person took some courses, or do you want to know, or does it not matter? Do you want to know, even in a traditional sense, if the person has gone through the initiations? Do you want a fake Babalawo or a real Babalawo?
Exactly.
Do you want a real EI or you want a fake EI? Do you want a teacher that went through the traditional ways of learning to teach us indigenously or culturally appropriate, or you want one who claims to be one? So lots of times the debates in our communities come up and they show like a disregard for one another in all the directions. I get it. Like I literally have to tap in to even like it's my field, but I'm not like very reactive to it in a sense. But to empathize with my brothers and sisters who are a bit more reactive to these things, I get it. It feels disrespectful. I'm talking about not the people who are now coming and saying that, what's the big deal about degrees? That can feel disrespectful. That feels disrespectful as well.
Right.
But even more so that someone comes into their field and fraudulently does that. Fraudulently says that they are qualified when they're not. So, and you're also taught to gatekeep in these different traditions. And I would argue in our African-centered spaces, we need to learn how to gatekeep a lot more.
Right.
And I'm talking about our own traditional ways of healing, because anybody this brother Yaki, whatever he was talking about, no, he's a fraud. And that thing on the website is what it wasn't. I don't think it was always there. And if it was there, it's in fine print, and then people don't even pay attention to it. So right. Even like people with certain types of personalities are so deceptive. They know if they even tell you the truth that it's kind of like somebody comes in and they say, well, look, I'm doing this for educational reasons. Y'all know what I mean, family. You know why I gotta say educational reasons, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? And people do it all the time. I'm not a lawyer, but this is done for educational or entertainment reasons. Then after that, they tell you all, they give you all types of advice, legal advice. It's kind of like a lawyer who never been to law school. Now, do you think it's not serious if your child was going to court and facing life for something he or she hasn't done, and you find out later this person wasn't real, or this person wasn't qualified the way that you thought they were? It's not about it's not about we have traditional healers or we have traditional lawyers or whatever type of lawyers. It's about what you thought you were signing up for, you didn't get. That is deception. And that is what's going on. So again, Cheyenne Bryant, honorary, earned, and self-taught wisdom. Why is the Black community fighting? So goes on, I'm gonna go back here, brother Cuz. It says here that it says again, let me just go on. It's the legitimacy of our agenda. So in other words, it's the legitimacy of our agenda, not the legitimacy of this degree. I think you can do two things at the same time. That is always you can do multiple things at the same time. We can hold people accountable and still do those things. I just had a conversation with a brother who I was supposed to do something with him today, but because I hold people accountable, he doesn't like it. And somehow he believes that this is distraction. Not just this, but anything when we trying to protect and gatekeep our community. I'm talking about gatekeep our community from people who will harm us.
Right.
I'm saying we can, like everybody else, every other community can gatekeep and also build. So why are we any different? We will not build if we don't gatekeep who we put before our children. Are you telling me that you will have your children go with a daycare provider that you didn't check their background out, and once you found out their background was illegitimate, that you now are going to not say anything? To me, that is problematic if that happens, because why is this daycare provider lying, and can they potentially harm the children that come there? So again, we got to know that we can do multiple things at a time, because people keep saying this stuff is a distraction. No, it's the capacity that others have. People think that their capacity is your capacity.
Mm-hmm.
People tell me, "Oh, that's a waste of time, Dr. Daw," and they doing less than me. I'm sorry, like I just had to be frank. They say that's a waste of time, Dr. Daw, and I'm gonna say it again. They're doing less than me. Like to me, it's almost an insult.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm not doing work in the community. It's not like I'm not doing work in institutions. It's not like I'm not doing the things that our elders said do. It's not like I'm not working with other organizations. It's not like I'm not doing all these different things. And I would argue that if I took the PhD away, take the damn PhD away. Take it away. Take it away. And I would take the PhD off my resume. I would take the PhD off my resume, but still stack it next to it. And I promise you, the PhD was just a small part of it. And many people's will not stack up. That's just being honest. So what I'm saying, with the PhD and with the critique of the people in our community, take the critique away. Well, I don't, gatekeeping, I don't consider discretion to be gatekeeping. No, I'm saying gatekeeping. What I mean is, if I'm a man and this brother's a man, and he and I are blood cousins. If he knows that there's a man in the community who wants to get with one of our family members, and we know this man doesn't have a good reputation, gatekeeping in that moment would be like, hold up, we have to deal with this. We have to check this out. Right. Can he come into the family or can he not? Are we allowing the gate to come? We allow him in or not? That's gatekeeping. I'm not talking about Tariq Nasheed and FBA gatekeeping. I'm talking about all professions have a form of gatekeeping. In fact, and I'm saying that maybe you don't like the word, but use a different word. But understand what I'm saying is we have to do more than that. I'm saying we have to be strategic about who is allowed to be a Babalaw. We have to be strategic about who is allowed to be a presenter before our people. We need to be look. That's why we get people like Umar. That's why I'm excited about what the work that we're doing with the race verse convention and the I forgot what, you know, the tag the material that we're combining, and part of that process is speaking to the need to hold each other accountable. That no popularity is not enough. And that's where we fail. We feel so hurt when people we thought we our trauma plays on us, because people who we want to be like, whether not they're lying or not, I've seen it too many times. I've told people about Polite. I've told people about Nature Boy. I told people about Umar. I've told people about Tariq Nasheed. I'm talking about over almost nearly 2 decades now. But we don't do a good enough job in gatekeeping. You might use another word. So let me close this part out here. Again, it says it's the legitimacy of our agenda. And then this is the part here. Imagine arguing over who's the most individually educated while we're collectively losing. Who's arguing? Who's arguing over who's the most individually educated while we're losing? Get focused and get back to work. I get it, but who's doing that? I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe this is to someone, but I think we have to be very clear that this is a very general post. And I think because how general it is, it hits people in different ways. Mm-hmm. Not me per se, but again, why are we fighting? I'm asking, why is the Black community fighting about these things? The fight, there's some pop shots and some shots taken here. This wasn't a clean post. This was the PhD arrogance is deafening. My doctorate is honorary and I'm proud of it. But I wish all I had to do in order to get where I am was my homework. Now, again, this could be a very, very specific target to specific people, and I get it. And maybe that needs to be given to somebody. But this is a very general post, and I think because it's general and maybe it's targeted towards certain individuals, it becomes a bit dangerous because it tends to lessen or what's the term I'm looking for? It tends to paint a picture during this time of Cheyenne Bryant as if we're not supposed to hold her accountable. Get back to work. Now, that could be wrong. Right. Or that might be my false interpretation. But go ahead.
No, you're right. That's the sense of it. And I think we had a conversation similar to this before. I think there are some of the elders have this, they do have this idea that we are getting bogged down into a conflict that detracts from doing the work. And I'm like, I can have some grace and space to understand that position because you are the elder and you've been through more, so you got more wisdom. But at the same time, the heart of the matter, the meat of the matter still is honesty. And so it's not a distraction from the work if you are calling out, if you're isolating problematic occurrences or problematic people, because you don't want to see other people go down a path and get hurt and get harmed and I would say, and it's like in general, you don't want to see that. But then when we start talking about mental health, it's like, look, this is a very special field. This it's not like you can, You can take your car to a mechanic and it not be a vetted, certified, qualified individual, and they can do some good, they can do some harm, and you can still bounce back. Your car can still roll on down the street. You know, but you don't want to be loosey-goosey like that with your body, with your mind. You know, you want to make sure that you're, again, I don't like if you're trying to vet a dentist and you found out that the dentist, that the plaque on the wall is fake. Oh, don't worry about it, baby. Just go ahead and have a seat. Let me get this nitrogen, let me get these gases in you, and I'm gonna get that tooth on out your mouth. Like, and then somebody call it an out, and the whistleblower gets called the problem. I'm like, somebody got it twisted. Like, somebody has to steer the ship, and somebody has to be the lookout, and somebody has to do this. So again, like, whoever his post is directed at, this idea that holding people accountable, if we get to the point where holding someone accountable becomes the problem, all right, well, this is the Titanic and the iceberg is right there.
Yeah. I mean, I just had a conversation with someone I used to call Bob the other day. And again, and this was more about what's going on with the FBA. They find it is a distraction. And he had no time and space for me. In fact, because I disagreed with this guy, he felt like, he could say all he wanted to say. But when I said, well, I see it different, he's like, oh, that's a waste of my time. I don't do that. I talk, but you can't disagree. That's pretty much what it became. And somewhere in his mind, I even read on a post he put out, he what did he say? He said something about he discarded and dismissed some nonsense. So see, you know what I mean? Like, we have a problem with communicating in our community, and that's part of the healing. Like, even if you thought it was nonsense, even if the person is genuine, why not usher them through the process of seeing your way? Exactly. Or seeing more clear, especially as an elder. Like, I can be out of my goddamn mind, but all you do is say that's a waste of time. I'm not talking about it because you don't agree with me. And obviously you're lost, young man. So you're done. Bye. Next. I don't think Malcolm X would do this. I don't think, like, okay, bro, look, all the shots, all the shots. I got an entire show coming on that one pretty soon. But look, I want to bring this. So what I want to do, cuz, I want to do a few more pieces on this particular post. Look over the run sheet, see if there's anything that we want to touch on. And if we got a little bit of time, we can open up the line. Is that good?
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so I'm going to put this post up now. So this is a response to that post. And we're using this because this is what's going on in our community in some sense. Like, where I'll just read this person's response. I don't know exactly what it says, but it's part of the dialogue that's going on. But we collectively lose when folks outright lie about their credentials too. This person is a sister. And she says, our community already distrusts doctors and healthcare in general. Why would anyone with a true understanding of their people use their platform to make that worse? I'll make sure I don't go up to your work. She's speaking to him, speaks for itself. You've likely earned more than a few doctorates based off of what you know and have done. Now, a part of the issue with that I have to be really clear on, a lot of people say that. And I think you've earned an honorary doctorate. Like, we can earn honorary doctorates. And I think honorary doctorates are things that should be taken very seriously. But I also want to be clear that there's a difference within what one does to earn an honorary doctorate, which is really essential work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of times it's the body of work. It's your body of work, the work you've done in the community. I said people like B. Gaddy or anybody, like people like I look like, for example, I'll tell you how significant a honorary doctorate is, that although I have a doctorate degree that I've earned, I would be very appreciative if I earned a honorary doctorate from a school of people, like from a school that people who respect my work. I'm talking about my colleagues or people. I'm talking about a real honorary doctorate. I would feel highly appreciative. I would feel honored because it says something about your work. And I don't think we should, but there is truth that people are going around getting too many honorary doctors. I'm not speaking about this person, but I'm speaking about people I personally know. And I'm trying to figure out, like, again, Cheyenne Bryant. Now, this person here obviously does work. I can say that. But Cheyenne Bryant saying that she has 2 honorary doctorates, I'm trying to figure out, what is the body of work?
Mm-hmm.
What is the body of work that, a lot of ministers, and there's a racket too. And there's a racket where people in these these schools, and they're not really, they start to like, it's a flex for many people. Let me just say that. And it's kind of like, it's a flex. But let me get back to this. It's a flex for many people. But again, as she says, your work speaks for itself. You've likely earned more than a few doctorates based off what you know and have done. Now, that's different than someone who's going through courses on all types of things. There's a difference between training and knowledge and understanding different things. It's a difference. It's a difference between adding to work, doing a dissertation. There's a difference. She goes on to say, we gone fry this one fish fam. We gonna fire this. She said, we gonna fire this one fish fam because every day I gotta fight to get someone who looks like me to believe I actually have a degree. Every day, not some days, all of them. For the past 23 years, I'm tired. See, that's now good conversation in this thread here. Because they're both now expressing this here, and she's expressing, and he's able to receive this, I believe, as well. But now there's some other things that I want to point out, though. Not some days, all of them for the past 23 years. Now, I'm tired. We don't need this tomfoolery. Now, I don't know who she's trying to get to. Honestly, just my one fight to get someone who looks like. Okay, now I get it. Because she's saying, I fight to get someone who looks like me to believe I actually have a degree. She's talking about our community, our own community. She's not even talking about people outside of our community. The hustle life said, okay. I think that's, and I want to talk about it a bit. I think that's very, very
pretty
it's subjective.
Mm-hmm.
In this whole pretty privilege, I think it's subjective, and I think that to some degree, look, we're going to make sure we talk about that before we go off. So getting back to what this dear sister is saying, I actually have a degree every day, not some days, all of them and this is true for the past 23 years. I'm tired. We did not need this tomfoolery. It's rock hard out here already, and we have no desire. Let me take it off the screen. I just want to make sure I don't bring up their names. I have no desire. I'm tired. We did not need this tomfoolery. It's rock hard out here already, and we have no desire to go back to what actually works. When we stayed to our own and taught our own and fed our own, we got to deal with our desire to be in proximity to others first, because I believe that's the first most That's most of our issue. Okay, so this sister is giving her thoughts about where the problem lies, and I'll read this one because I think this one here is pretty interesting. I'm trying to make sure I don't get their names in the screen. Okay, I'm going to read this, and then I'm just going to read it because it's hard to not get the person's name. It says, I understand where you're coming from, but they are non-traditional. This is the person who wrote the initial post now. I understand where you're coming from, but they are okay. They're I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it here, but they are okay. They're yeah. I'm trying to read it the way it's written. I'm not being funny. It's just not. It's not. He was typing fast. They're non-traditional healers out here that do great work and folk with all the credentials that have no business seeing patients. It boils down to credentials and ability. We have to look at a person's track record as well as their credentials. I'm not saying don't fry that fish, laughing out loud. There are a few in my lane that need frying. Just make sure we're not using the broad brush. That okay. What? I'm trying to figure out the broad brush though. Part. Again, this must be a response to something that he didn't mention.
Right. Yeah, it's well, I would hope that it's a response to something that he didn't mention, because other than that, it still plays like a protection for the good Dr. Bryant. And again, even one statement that he made in there, he said this all comes down to credentials and ability. Yeah, both credentials and ability. Technically, he should have said this all comes down to ability.
But can I add something?
He's trying to swipe out the credentials part.
Yes. It's there.
He's contradicting himself.
It's clear because I'm going to say this and throw it back at you, is that it says here, whether the tradition, but there are non-traditional healers out here that do great work and folk with all the credentials that have no business seeing patients. Like, where did that show up in the conversation?
But that's like, okay, like, again, that's why I say, if it's coming off the heels of some other conversation, oh, great. But the way it lands, it's coming off the heels of the Dr. Cheyenne Bryant ain't necessarily Dr. Cheyenne Bryant conversation.
Right.
And it's again, it just serves as leave her alone. It serves as a protection for her more so than anything else. And
that's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah. And it's like, look, once again, we don't necessarily care whether she has the credentials or not. We care that she's lying about the credentials. We care that she doubled down. I was going to do a little breakdown on one of her comments on, was it the Breakfast Club? She said, she gave that explanation about the refund. Did you see that part? Did you hear that part?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm just like, again, that type of double down, that type of defensiveness, I'm like, look, you can't defend that. You can't. That's not the broad brush. That's the plain as day, accurate bullseye target for something that's not right.
Absolutely. So again, to me, it's indicative of what he's saying here, though, as well, is I feel like he feels that someone has come for him.
Okay.
question his
that would make sense,
credentials or what have you.
Right.
And so it sounds like, again, I would say we got to do better on all those sides, because this seems like a reaction to me.
Mm-hmm.
Although he's not like naming it that, I think it would be better done if he did name it that or focused it directly at the person. Because see, that's the problem I have in our community many times, because people say, "Oh, don't deal with it." We don't deal with things directly, and I'm sorry. If you're gonna be around, look, I'm just letting people know, if you're going to be around me, we're gonna deal with it directly, because I know that is what helps relationships stay. And if you can't deal with the directness or whatever, you ain't ready for a relationship. And I mean, I'll utilize my therapist skills a bit, but what I'm saying is, I know a little bit about relationships. And when you are indirect and you don't really talk to the person, but we do these general posts that's hitting everybody beside, and the person that you're intending it to hit, it don't just hit them. It's a shotgun. You didn't use a missile. You didn't use a rifle.
Right.
You know, you used a shotgun with the pellets and all, and it hit all types of people. And hence it starts to keep these wars going back and forth, because many people aren't going to be like reading this like I'm reading it and like, well, somebody obviously took some shot at him.
Right.
And he's reacting to that. So, but again, why is the black community fighting? Because he's taking shots here. So again, it says, I understand where you're coming from, but there are non-traditional healers out here that do great work and folk with all the credentials that have no business seeing patients. So it's this one-sidedness of this thing. So you're going all the way to like non-traditional healers that's doing great work. I'm trying to figure out how that actually was a response to her response. Now, maybe you can help me out with that. I might be overlooking it. That part. That there's how do you insert non-traditional healers in this?
Is he the non-traditional healer, or is like
I don't think this person's a non-traditional healer. I could be wrong.
Again, I'm not saying. Then I keep coming back to he's defending Bryant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I don't think. But he's saying he's not. But I think it's very clear that. But he starts off saying this like so. It's like it's not clear. Let's just say that. And lots of times when we just got to deal with these things. As a community, we have to make space for each other. I'll make space for the dear Baba brother. I'll make space for, like, we have to make space because everybody's feeling hurt by this. And I feel like everybody's getting hit in the process, you know? And so then we're fighting, like we're literally talking about someone who is being deceptive to our community. Now we are fighting about degrees and non-degree people, because people with degrees are, it might not even have anything to do with the idea that people with the degree and the credentials and the licenses are calling this person out for being a fraud and also potentially problematic and harmful to the community. And now these type of posts come out, and the post that says that she's pretty much ordained by God and that she wrote a book. Now you told me to go write a book. Yeah, because she wrote a book, you know, and like that, because we don't have to worry about her lying because her book is healing people. We don't have to worry like why are we worried about what? No, we're worried about her lying to people and harming people. Again, it's not about one person doing one thing. The same thing I said about Tariq Nasheed a few weeks ago. People are claiming that Tariq Nasheed is bringing black people back together.
Right.
They're saying
they're claiming that he's doing it under the auspices of God.
Absolutely.
But that's why I said her defenders like it is becoming, it has the markings of the cultishness of it, the way that they're defending her. Because they, you know, again, the more you stray away from she lied, the more you turn it into something else. The more you do that, the more you deflect from what was actually going on, the more you are defending the cult of personality. You are participating in the cult of personality. And I'm like, you know, like I might would say, you know, this might be a section where I say something about she said, she tried to frame it as pretty punishment. No, yeah, she tried to frame it as pretty punishment. And I'm like,
who framed it as pretty punishment?
Cheyenne Bryant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she literally said this is pretty punishment.
You know, woo, go ahead, cuz. Oh.
And I'm like, and so I was like, oh, hold on. So she's gonna introduce, you know, prettiness, attractiveness into this conversation. She put that on the table, and she did it very eloquently. And I'm like, look, well, once you put that into play, once you throw that out there, especially when you're throwing it out there because people are asking you, did you tell us the truth or not? And so I'm like, well, look at the evidence. So if she is the victim of pretty punishment, it's like, look, she's on the Breakfast Club. She's on Fox 5. She's on MTV. She got the book deal. She got, you know, the celebrity clients. She's on massive platforms. And everybody is co-signing her as Dr. Bryant because she said she is Dr. Bryant. She's literally on a book tour. In spite of the credibility crisis. And she's getting more book tours. We're getting more bookings. That's not the biography. That's certainly not the poster child of being punished. That's the profile of someone who is enjoying the privilege of prettiness. She's platformed, she's protected, she's promoted all through everything that people are saying, wait a minute, you are not telling the truth. You didn't do this and you didn't do that. And your defense doesn't hold water. Oh, y'all just mad at me because I'm pretty. No. I mean, pretty, you know, yeah, pretty punishment is a real concept. But pretty punishment is when somebody is being penalized in spite of being competent. She's not even being penalized. And most people are not willing to have a conversation about whether or not she's competent, but she's not being penalized. She's just being questioned. Say again?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you say she hasn't been penalized?
I don't see, like, no. The book tour hasn't been canceled. The MTV contract hasn't been pulled. You know, like I ain't like for instance, I wouldn't try to defend Kanye West, but when Kanye West say the dumb, stupid, crazy, outrageous stuff out his mouth, and then his billionaire status is ripped from him because contract after contract get pulled, that's punishment.
So she's pretty much saying that the other sisters are hating on her.
Yeah. People said, so are you a doctor? Why are you trying to question me? You just don't like the fact that I'm pretty?
She said that?
Let me try to pull it. I'm playing with the wording, but
it's cool. I mean, I got what you're saying. It doesn't have to be verbatim, but I also have a problem with the idea of pretty privilege.
Okay.
And yeah, something about pretty privilege doesn't really work for me. Because when I hear privilege, it's almost like when people talk about privilege, it's like this. When people tend to use privilege in this era, it's kind of like saying white is a privileged identity, and and black is an oppressed identity. It's kind of like saying, because you are able-bodied, that's more of a privileged position, and because you have a disability, that's an oppressed identity. It's almost like saying, even I'm gonna keep this one the white and black. I mean, the white woman and white male, because you are a white male, you are privileged, and because I'm a female, I'm oppressed. Now, I have a problem with these simple categories in general, but these make a bit more sense to me. It's kind of like you at least can measure it. Like, I mean, so if she has pretty privilege, what does everybody else have?
What you mean?
All right, it's clear. If you black, you're in a oppressed position. If you are white, you're in a privileged position. So, with this framework. So now you're using, this person is pretty. Now, what's the other side of that?
You know what the other side is.
That's why I have a problem with the idea. I mean, and I might be, I don't know if they're using it that way or people even thinking about it. Like, so what do you like? I don't get privilege because what, I'm ugly? Like, I'm trying to figure out, or is there nuance there? Like I'm trying to figure this out. Like, and furthermore, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what like the people who invoke it, the people who discuss it, the people who say that they have exercised it, they are saying they look better than the average person. They are saying they look better than.
That's different.
They may not use the U word. They may not say that person is ugly, but they are saying I look good enough.
I get it from that point. I get it from the person who believes that they are the pretty person.
Okay.
And they're narcissistic and they're whatever, all that type of thing. Conceited and all that type of thing, right? But I wouldn't like, for me, like, if I started saying somebody else has handsome privilege, what would that say about me? Like, I'm just trying to figure, like, where do I fall there? Like I mean, I'm just not like, does that mean that I'm ugly? I'm trying to figure that one out. Am I buying into this idea of what's pretty and what's ugly?
If you buy into it, yes. But if you just approach the concept with the awareness that other people have this ideology going about inside their minds, then I don't think that's a reflection on you. I think it's just recognizing, like somebody in the comments said, nice looking people have an advantage.
I'm trying to figure out, so the other people don't look nice?
There are people who I don't like, you're not supposed to say objectively, but there are people who do grab way more eyes than others. Like,
yeah,
for instance,
it's a tool.
Go ahead.
But to me, it's like one, and I'm not saying she's not getting some spaces and places because of the what people have been socialized to see as pretty. But what I'm also saying that I think that's overly simplified.
In what part is overly simplified?
That she's getting because she's pretty. Now that's just one tool in the arsenal. To me, you could be people who are ugly as hell, excuse my language, quote unquote. Like the people who are typically seen as ugly as hell. There's lots of tools. It's like this lady is skilled. It's not like she's just a pretty looking woman or something. Like, I mean, honestly, this lady, like you could almost change her looks in the way that she runs her mouth, in the way that she carries that game. I'm not saying that she has to become what people typically see as the worst looking person. But I'm saying if she went in people's minds, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I don't think she always looks that. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but nonetheless, I can see why people think she's beautiful. But I mean, you know, everybody got their thing. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that I don't see that she has some characteristics that people are attracted to. But I think that downplays her manipulation. That downplays her skill, because people with skill can look like nothing you like and lure you in. This lady is skilled in so many ways, and that what we call pretty is just one piece of the tool. Is one tool in the arsenal.
No, that's true. It is one tool, but I guess what I'm saying is, it's definitely a tool that she is using. It's definitely a tool that she has used. I'm not saying that she's using it or that other people are saying she's using it to make up for what she doesn't have skill-wise. I'm simply saying she's using her prettiness factor to defend and deflect from any question of accountability and integrity and honesty and sincerity about that degree. She literally says people only, okay, I can't say literally, I'm not being verbatim, but she is saying people are only quote unquote attacking her about this degree thing because she's pretty. And she has had to deal with this type of pretty attack.
But again, she's saying that. She's making that narrative.
Yes.
And then if we run with it and say she has pretty privilege, that is more of a deception. That is a deflection. That is a narcissistic tool. Like her attractiveness. Look, I've seen her in different categories. I'm just going to be honest. I've seen her with makeup on, makeup off. I've seen her in different pictures. Some of these pictures, it's like, whoa. And some of these pictures like, And so what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the makeup is a tool. As the sister says here, if you put on a suit and tie, that's a tool. So I get it. I get it in that way. But I'm saying that she has way more tools of deception than what people are just saying, oh, that's pretty privilege. And I promise you, if that lady looked like what people didn't like, she would still work that femininity.
Oh, she would, for sure. For sure.
But does that not mean that she's not working what people have been conditioned to see as pretty? I know she's working that too.
Yeah, but I mean, she openly admits
it. But I think though you can look just like her and don't have the skills that she have, and none of what she's accomplished will be a thing. You can't just wake up being pretty and showing. You can't just wake up being quote unquote pretty and end up in these spaces. There's plenty of beautiful women out here. Like that drop dead will probably make her on the scale look like an 8. But or something like that, if you want to use these scales. But they don't have that skill set and that manipulation and deflection, the narcissistic traits that she says she has. to get her in the rooms and flim flam talk and all that. They don't have that. So they will still struggle. I know too many pretty women, like I even like that have no confidence. But this lady has confidence or false confidence and skill sets and a whole rack of tools of manipulation in her arsenal. I know so many women is so pretty, but they don't even think they're pretty. I'm talking about that will make her look like how we've been socialized, look like nothing. But somebody's even manipulated them to believe that they don't look like a thing. I mean, I work with sisters every day who really struggle with their looks, but and they don't use it that way, and they feel like people aren't even attracted to them. So it's, and I'm talking about gorgeous sisters. I'm talking about gorgeous sisters who don't think nobody like them. I'm talking about Cheyenne ain't got nothing touching. I'm talking about stereotypically gorgeous. I'm talking about you like so gorgeous that you like, I ain't walking up to that sister. That type of gorgeous. You like, oh. like you know, brothers be like, look, and I can tell, and sometimes they think it's, that they're not gorgeous, and sometimes the brothers get to take that shot.
Right, I agree with you.
But but I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that you're doing this proper Professor Shabazz. I'm saying that to me, even if she's saying it is a deflection.
Exactly.
And when other people saying it, I got a problem with it. I'm talking about just the idea, because I think when they're saying it, there's this socialized way of seeing pretty. So like, I mean, I get it, but it's kind of like saying somebody else is ugly. I mean, I just, I don't know. I'm just, I might be doing a little bit too much African-centered work here, but nonetheless, I think though it's also to reduce it to just her looks is an error.
That's true. Again, like, no, what I'm saying is she is using it. She's the one that used it when they pressed her about do you or do you not have the degree. When they pressed her, and why not just stop using the word doctor, since there's all this controversy around whether or not you have it. Her response is, she said, I've learned that there's pretty punishment. And I didn't really understand that term until I got into my field. I've been in my field for 18 years. I didn't get into my field to become famous. But she also added, no one goes to college and gets multiple degrees and say, I want to be famous. Now, do I love it? Yeah, I love it. I'm grateful. But what I'm saying in that, now I may not be able to find like the rest of the clip or whatever. She says that the people that are challenging her, she says, this is what you call pretty punishment.
That's different though. She never said pretty privilege. She called okay. She's saying to be pretty is to be oppressed. She's flipping it the other way around. Other people are saying it's pretty privilege.
But what she's saying, what she's saying is, I can't be punished if I'm not pretty.
She's saying
you can't be a victim of pretty punishment if you're not pretty. If you don't hold yourself as pretty. She
agrees that she's pretty, but I don't have
she's saying that you asking me about whether or not I got a degree, you're punishing me for being pretty.
It's a deflection. So but she's still not talking about pretty privilege. She's talking about pretty punishment.
Right. Now, what I'm saying
is the reverse racism card. She's doing the reverse racism card. She's saying that she is saying racism doesn't exist. Who's being the race? We are being the racism is in our direction, meaning like the white men say. We are being discriminated against. Now, Anyway, I just don't like. I don't think she's saying that. But again, I would argue. I mean, I would argue against just that word. I don't know. I think something, and I would have to flesh it out. I don't like the word. I don't think it's healthy. I think like for people to say it, I would have to ask them, do they believe they have that privilege? Like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. And we have to flesh it out a bit. It's like, to me, I don't know. I can't put it in words. It doesn't psychologically work for me. For people to kind of like it's almost like in two ends. She has victimized what she called pretty, and they have victimized what not being pretty.
Right. Now, again, all I was saying was to invoke pretty punishment means you're declaring that you have enough prettiness for it to be a factor in the conversation.
You have enough.
And what I was saying, and what I'm saying is, if anything is true, you are an exerciser of pretty privilege more so than you are a victim or a receiver of pretty punishment. It's very hard for me to see, whether I agree on the terms, it's very hard for me to see you being the victim of punishment when you're getting all of the accolades that have come to you.
Okay.
And you're saying you're flexing on the prettiness. So I'm saying if prettiness is a factor, okay, it may be a factor.
No, I agree with
you.
you.
But you're not being punished.
I agree with you there.
Okay.
That her ability to put herself together and package it has been weaponized, and in many ways it has also, I think it might be a bit of both, but she has weaponized it intentionally to get where she is. She, like those dresses, the first thing I saw when someone brought her up on a show that I was on is the way she wore her tops and the amount of cleavage that she showed and said she was a therapist. And I say that because even if the training that you receive, most therapists would definitely speak against dressing like that because it will be a distraction for many. Now, I know many would say out here like, well, people have to grow up and understand that women have breasts and all that, but we're in the real world. And if you are showing certain levels of cleavage, again, people aren't focusing so much on what you're saying all the time. It can become a distraction. Men can do the same thing if you're doing certain things, and you know what I mean. So what I'm saying is we have to be mindful of how we show up and whether or not our words are really resonating, or is it our assets? You know what I mean? And because we all utilize certain attributes as well. Like, I mean, like we all do. I mean, those who we all do, but whatever asset you have doesn't mean you have to be manipulative, doesn't mean you have to be abusive, doesn't mean you have to take advantage of people. And she has done a great job of doing that with a variety of tools, including what you're calling pretty privilege. But I also, on the other side, I believe, and I want to believe, I know that people's looks have been weaponized against them. You know, so it's not always easy for people. And it's the same thing about these degrees versus non-degrees. It's this harm on both sides that happen. And people typically look at the harm of the person who's seen as having less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they don't typically often see the harm that the person who just worked hard for that degree. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They don't often see that. And those people feel shut out many times. They don't have a voice and all this type of thing. And then they're like, what's going on? The same thing with people like who are seen to be the dark-skinned child. But then the dark-skinned child is seen this way in some families. And then there's the light-skinned child, because the dark-skinned child is tired of being treated a certain way. Now these dark-skinned children are now beating you up for being the one that everybody likes. So it's a reciprocal process in our community that I think we really have to deal with. I remember, honestly, now, y'all, I have a bald head now. Now, you know how I looked when I was younger, right? You know,
I remember a little bit, yeah.
Okay, my hair was a bit like,
you had
like
wavy
curly
hair, didn't you?
Real
curly hair.
Yeah, real curly hair, right? You can see a little bit in my beard, but a lot of people found that to be attractive, right? And there would be people that would target me because certain people were conditioned to like that. So I'm saying is, like, we have to talk about the realness on all the sides. There's people who are, I mean, it's a lot of stuff we have to talk about in our community with openness. And to act like a lot of these things aren't happening is problematic. The person with the PhD can't talk because you then sold out to the white man. The person with no degree feels like they can't talk because you don't think they're smart enough. Like, so we have to talk about all these things. And lots of times, and I'll just be honest, I'll just give you my experience. People will respond to you with things you never said or things you never done due to your title many times. Because now they already, because you have this DR or these letters behind your name, they've already built up this thought inside of them that you think you know every damn thing.
Yes, they do.
And the reality is, again, most people with a PhD, from what they know very little.
Right.
And research would show that. Research would show that most people with PhDs underestimate their knowledge base, and people, the less knowledge you have, for sure, you overestimate it. And I think that tends to be where wars come in. And I think another way the wars come in is that people, when we go to these institutions, sometimes they train you in certain ways, and you might be like, that's not true. And they're like, what? You know, so it's like this mix match in how you deal with truth, facts, reality, and so what you take as not so much of a slight, somebody else might. Because you've been sitting in classes and you've been hashing these things out. Like, no, brother, I think you need a source there. But look, you know, what I mean? It's like, well, you say that to somebody who ain't used to that, it's like, what? God told me this. Like, so it's like, it's like a whole thing. And so we be misunderstanding each other lots of times. Now, getting back to the not to get off the point again is about, why is the Black community fighting? I feel like we are missing each other, and many times we as a collective are hurt in different ways, and we can't see the hurt and pain in the different directions. We can't understand, like, when you walk around with your doctor's free, why nobody don't want to talk to you no more? Why nobody, like, you didn't went to school for and became a nurse practitioner, and they calling everybody but you about the code. like about the illness. You're like, what's going on? They talking to Dr. Yaki. They talking to what's his name? Like it's kind of like, you know. So that element is there too. You like, hold up, that's not real, and we gotta get to a point where we know that some of this stuff is not real, but it's still hard work. And that's why I guess I get back to this point, and I'm gonna land my plane. Is that in this post, the dear Baba brought out this thing that we have, I think out of nowhere, unless I'm just missing the point. But I'm gonna just read these two because I just kind of gotta know, like I must be missing something. The sister said, but we collectively lose when folks outright lie about their credentials too. Our community already distrusts doctors and healthcare in general. Why would anyone with a true understanding of their people use their platform to make that worse? Your work speaks for itself, talking to the Bible. You've likely earned more than a few doctorates based off what you know and have done. We gonna fry this one fish, fam, because every day, this is what the sister's saying, I gotta fight to get someone who looks like me to believe I actually have a degree. In other words, not even have a degree, probably what she's saying is respect my expertise every day, not some days, all of them. For the past 23 years, I'm tired. We did not need this tomfoolery. It's rock hard out here already, and we have no desire to go back to what actually works. When we stayed to our own and taught our own and fed our own, we got to deal with our desire to be in proximity to others first, because I believe that's the most of the issue. And then the response was, I understand where you're coming from, but there are non-traditional healers out here that do great work and folk with all the credentials that have no business seeing patients. I'm trying to figure out that part. Like, I'm trying to figure out why was that response? Like, I think I might be missing it.
Again, all I can see is if he talking about somebody else, again, he could very well be talking about somebody else. I just don't think there's no way it's clear enough to understand who else he's talking about. So I just can't help but say this is still about the good doctor. This is still about is it important to have a PhD or not? Is it important to have the credential or not? Is it important to have those skill sets stamped by the institutions?
You know what I think, cuz my read is on this. I thank you for that. My read on this is that this person is saying you want people to respect your degrees, but because that's what she was saying. But there are non-traditional healers out here that do great work and folk with all the credentials in the world, with all the credentials that have no business seeing patients. So you want, because the sister was saying about, she was arguing about people respect, a lot of black people out here not respecting degrees, her degree, her education. And I guess what he is saying, that there's non-traditional healers who aren't being respected. But at the same time, the way it comes off still, and I'm gonna tell you the difference, it becomes this thing that, but there are non-traditional healers out here that get great work, that do great work, and folk with all the credentials in the world that have no business seeing patients. Like, so it's like this, like, but I think it's both. Like, there are people out here, like I said earlier, I don't think Umar should see people ever. But I also would say, I think that, to be honest, we have to also say there's non-traditional people that should never see nobody, and it is not, and we need to do better work in regulating these non-traditional approaches, because there's too many out here hurting our people. And I'll just turn it back over to you, because I'm if anybody wants to come in, and I'll turn it over to let you land your plane. And if anybody wants to come in and chit chat with me and Professor Shabazz, we're open to that. The link is in the chat.
I would say, maybe I'll say a couple of things. I would say, to some extent, you know, the back and forth there with him and her or whatever, there's still a little bit of the either or versus the both and in there.
Yeah.
You know, yes, there are people with credentials that do good work. There are people without credentials that do good work. There are people with credentials that do bad work. There are people without credentials that do bad work. You got both on both sides of the coin. So again, now I don't know why. I don't necessarily know why their exchange is kind of sort of maybe missing each other in that respect, but you know, there could just be more that went on before that conversation went public on Facebook or whatever. But I'll say, like, clearly, like, we as a community, we as a group of an ethnicity of Africans or whatever, we have a complicated and legitimate historical relationship with suspicion, with paranoia, especially with institutions and institutional credentials. And you know, there's institutions that have hurt us, there's institutions that have helped us. A lot of them have pathologized us, and you know, there's weaponization, but there is a genuine philosophical fault line between people who say institutional credentials are the standard and people who say that the community gets to decide who the credible authorities are. And again, if I'm trying to point it back to Dr. Bryant and the situation that she caused or created, or the spotlight that has been shown onto her. And I'm like, as long as I look at that, I'm like, look, well, however you feel about a credentialed person or a non-credentialed person, how do you feel about honesty? How do you feel about integrity? That's the only thing I want to know. Do you feel like it is part of it? It should be part of the configuration that a person has integrity when you're working with them. Now, if you say no, okay, have at it. Go do you. I just can't roll. I can't roll with that. I can't. I'm like, I need some level of integrity in the situation.
Right. I mean, and I agree with you there, because, and I'm going back to this, I guess, what's his name? Who HP is still on the gatekeeping. And I just want to show, like, when we see this, to me, what who is doing is part of the problem.
Okay.
And I think, see, that becomes that dichotomous way of looking at things. And I think this haunts our community. And so what Wahoo says is gatekeeping is a form of punishment implemented by the privileged. So I am arguing that we need to do our own gatekeeping in our own community, and whether or not who we allow in. And gatekeeping in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a bad thing. So I pasted in here just a legitimate and formal gatekeeping. This ensures that practitioners are competent, ethical, and qualified to protect the public. This is from Walton Licensure and Certification, requiring exams, supervised hours or degrees, passing bar exam for law, obtaining continuing education, mandating ongoing training to keep skills sharp, up to date, ethics board, that type of thing. Enforcing codes of conduct to protect clients and malpractice. These are things we need in our own systems, whether they're indigenous or not. And then here it says unfair. See, that's a form of gatekeeping. And then there's unfair gatekeeping. So again, we don't have to look at, as Professor Shabazz is speaking about, lots of times we get caught up in this dichotomized way of looking at things, all or nothing, black and white, this against that type of way of looking at things. But we have to understand that everything and every tool can be used as a weapon or used in a fair manner. So again, unfair and informal gatekeeping, unfair and informal gatekeeping, this limits competition, slows diversity, blocks upward mobility by creating unnecessary obstacles. That's the source right there. Requiring specific degrees or years of experience for entry-level roles that do not actually demand them, inadvertently shutting out career shifters, unpaid internships, making it so only individuals with financial support can afford to gain entry-level experience required break into the field. So all that. And the problem is this. So sometimes we go, and I say we overcorrect. And the thing is this. See, we when we've been hurt by a thing, we think that we need to just don't do a thing. Oh, they gatekeep. They were practicing gatekeeping against us, so we're not going to gatekeep. Or well, they use traditional medicine, and so and they did this against us, so we're not going to do that at all. So we go too far. In my Ngea theory, it's called overcorrection. We continue to overcorrect. Just because someone has weaponized a thing against you doesn't mean there is not an ethical way in need for it in our community. So that's why we get we get turned off by the churches that have abused us. We get turned off by how the white man has abused us. We get turned off by all these things, and then we say, well, we don't need no leaders because somebody is oppressing us. We don't need to go to school because they utilize education against us. Like, well, create your own schools, create your own things, and I promise you that you would still have to put in some code of conduct. There will still have to be something that you pass. You cannot become an EI. You cannot become a Baba Lao. You cannot become a Baba in our communities. You cannot become even married without meeting some level of expectations from an African-centered perspective. So what we do is we decolonize and we disband and we what is it called? What is it called? What are we talking about? Get rid of the jails. What do they call it? Abolish. We abolish everything. Mm-hmm. We abolish everything. And I'm not saying jails are needed. I'm just saying that something's needed. Mm-hmm. And so we'll say, well, like a lot of people go to prison, right? They'll come back and they're like, look, you can't tell me nothing. Because they're like, look, I'm tired of people telling me rules, and they struggle when they get to jobs lots of times. And it's like because they're tired of someone who misused them. What I'm saying is, and that person could be really honest, and sometimes not honest, or vice versa. But the thing is, lots of times when we haven't dealt with our trauma, we begin to think that things that are not totally negative are because somebody's weaponized against us. It's kind of like if somebody got hit by a car and now they're traumatized by cars. Now they see cars as problematic. So when they see cars, they run. There's no need to run from the thousands of cars that come down the road. But because they have not healed from their trauma, they see all cars as potential threats, as they are, but they overly evaluate the harm. And hence, they will never get another car. They'll walk out of the way. They might move to the wilderness by themselves. So they cut them things out from potential things that we need to build. You had something.
No, you're right. I had like a bit of a flashback because I had to, when I was younger, I had a car accident, and it was on a winding road, and it was on a narrow road, and for a very long time after that, I didn't want to go there. It was like, I got to find another way. I can't take that path. I can't take that, I got to go this. When I ended up on roads that were narrow, when I ended up on roads that were winding, I was, stressing out and panicking and having all of that. And I'm like, yeah, you have to get over, you got to go through whatever you got to go through the process and get over whatever the trauma is, or else it locks you into this. Okay, the word you use, overprotection and overcorrection. And so, and again, like, I think one of the things I said earlier is, we have the Black community itself, we have a good reason for being distrustful, but we can't let the distrust run everything. You don't burn down the house unless you got a full-fledged plan of building another one. You don't just burn it down because it's a bad house. You might have to camp out in that house a little bit while you build the next one.
Well, I think the problem with that, though, Brother Shabazz, that takes maybe it off a bit. In this case, because the trauma happened in the house, they don't want to have a house.
That's painful.
So in this case, we don't have gatekeepers. You can change the word. We don't have a vanguard, or we don't have elders, or we don't have people who say you're not ready. We don't have people who's trainees or mentors, and that's how a lot of people think. Like a lot of young men who I mean, I won't even go into all that right now, but what I'm saying is we will look at things in ways that are not really consistent with reality or to our liberation. Because again, we do have to have systems and values and code of conducts to hold each other accountable. If you don't like the word gatekeeping, let's call it keeping gate. Whatever it is, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And it's so interesting that people can look up things and then paste it here, and then they won't. I think they skip over due to the trauma. They'll skip over the other, like why didn't you put all the definition there? Why didn't you show the benefits to? Why do you only show one side of it and how it's been misused? Just like Cheyenne Bryant is misused her fake credentials, but there's people out here doing real good with their fake credentials, and they start off by saying that they're fake. And I'm messing with you. They start off by saying they don't have them, but they have another form of credential, or they have real learned and lived experience, or they have indigenous wisdom, or they have real life experience. They have peer experience, like different ways of intervening. Now the problem is not that she doesn't have whether or not the degree matters or not. If the degree didn't matter so much, why the hell did she lie? Exactly. So miss me with the poor analysis. Brother Shabazz, I'm gonna let you close out and we're gonna get up out of here. Okay. Because nobody's coming in.
Right. Let me see. I'll just say this. Right now, the community is fighting because Bryant's situation forced people to publicly choose between values that they perhaps never thought about deeply, never explicitly ranked, never investigated. And so the question would be, do you prioritize institutional standards or community validation, or do you figure out a way to balance them both? Do you prioritize the bag, or do you prioritize integrity? But don't be misunderstood into thinking that it has to be an either or. Nobody's saying don't make your money. Nobody's saying don't hop on every opportunity that you possibly can in order to make your money, but do it with integrity. Do you prioritize? Never mind. Most people have never had to answer these questions out loud. And I think Dr. Bryant's situation on Front Street, on camera, on social media, if there's a silver lining, and the silver lining is, look, there are standards that we all need to at least contemplate. It's not the wild, wild west. It's not supposed to be the wild, wild west. There has to be a set of standards, who they come from, where they come from, and how we hold each other accountable to them is all open for conversation and discussion. But integrity and honesty has to be one of them.
Yeah. Wahoo HP has done it again because I'm going to answer this. I got to.
Okay, go.
So, Pan-Africanism, as we know, can vary politically, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a school of thought. It's an ideology. There are core tenets that make up what we call Pan-Africanism, and probably variations of them. But there are core tenets that most of us have to at least identify with, agree on, or something like that to be considered a Pan-Africanist. So one, is it exclusive? Well, perhaps I would ask the question, do you think that a white supremacist can be a Pan-Africanist? If we're inclusive, do you believe that that Pan-Africanism is totally inclusive? That white supremacy, you can be a white supremacist and also a Pan-Africanist. Pan-Africanists typically work around shared identity, recognizing that, and there's some ideas, shared identity, recognizing that all African people, both on the continent and throughout the global diaspora, constitute a single extended family. Most Pan-Africans are looking for liberation, self-determination, or some form of African sovereignty, actively working to end economic and social exploitation of African nations and exploitation of people of African descent in general. If you are not, and you don't hold these values, then yes, you might not make the cut. Pan-Africans believe in solidarity, supporting human rights, and anti-imperialist struggles locally and globally. That's why I say FBA doesn't make the cut. Mm-hmm. FBA does not make the cut. If you espouse the Tariq Nasheed version of Pan-Africanism, you don't make the cut because you're ideologically at odds. So the question is Pan-Africanism inclusive of everything or exclusive? Pan-Africanism has tenets. It's an ideology. It's kind of like saying, can everybody be a Christian? Can you be a devil worshiper and also a Baptist? Is there gatekeeping when you go into church? Hell to the yeah. Is there gatekeeping when you go into the Nation of Islam? Hell to the yeah. Is there gatekeeping when you go into, maybe you might want to call it something else. Maybe you call it, what's the term called? Cuz a vetting process.
Vetting process.
You know, everybody doesn't make the cut. There in African Senate and African ways of being, there's rites of passage. And everybody don't make it all the time. So it's not so inclusive that you can be everything against Pan-Africanism, but also claim to be Pan-Africanist. And that is why I say, I argue, I maintain, you cannot be an adherent to FBA ideology and also call yourself a Pan-Africanist. Cuz you got something on that note?
No, I'm good. I was a little perplexed with the question itself, and I was probably gonna go somewhere else, but I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, family. We thank you for taking this ride with us. Who HP? I thank you for asking the question. I appreciate questions like that, and I appreciate everybody who took the ride with us today. Make sure you like this video, thumb up this video. Make sure if you're on Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler's channel, you go to the Proper Perspective on YouTube and thumb that up, and vice versa. Come over here and do the same thing. share,
indeed.
like, subscribe, and hype the video. This one is, you know, maybe we'll break it down into some sections or something like that. Pretty nice and lengthy one. But it looked like your eyes went up your head. But nonetheless, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, family. And I will see you all on Wednesday. I got Brother Lawrence Grand Prix coming in to the building from Leaders of Beautiful Struggle, and we will be talking about mental health once again, and as it pertains to Pan-Africanism, as it pertains to liberation, as it pertains to decolonizing that system, that government. So as much as we holding this system accountable, we must hold the goddamn major system that's creating these ill versions of us accountable. And with no further ado, I'll say peace and power.
When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back.
If a generalized black woman is doing this and being this, that is that is irresponsible.
No,
when you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind
showing
back.
me, you know,
black and proud. Claim your Africanness, black
because
and
I
proud.
think that if
when you claim your
as a
Africanness, you're going to
person
get your
who
mind
has
back.
a page,
What is the status of people
Claim your
with half
Africanness, black and proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back.
That's why I was laughing, because
Black and
I am
proud. Claim your Africanness, black
I'm
and
not saying
proud.
the
I'm telling
framework
you.
doesn't do a thing, but
Become a part of it.
we've been
Embrace
forward
it.
to black men
Become a
being the
part of it.
masters, being
Embrace
in
it.
control. We must
Become a
have
part
our
of
own.
it.
It's only
Embrace it.
that those one of the
Become a
best
part
stories
of
I've
it.
ever heard.
Embrace it. When you claim your
I've
Africanness, you're
mastered
going to get your mind
that
back.
mental growth takes
Black
place.
and
You
proud.
can
Claim your
misled by
Africanness,
leadership,
black
for
and
instance,
proud.
that
I'm telling
thinking you can consume.
When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and proud. Claim your Africanness, black and proud. I'm telling you.